This is RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy. Hey guys, today we are doing Mobile Weekly, not live. And the reason for that is, if you missed our video the other day, we aren't doing Mobile Weekly live today because of the fact that unfortunately I have to work, so this is pre-recorded. I did take a bunch of questions in another video though, so I'll be answering all those questions at the end of this segment. So hopefully you got to ask your question. But if you did miss it, just tune in live next week. We do Mobile Weekly live every Sunday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I do apologize for it. I had to work today. I will let you guys know, though, that at the end of this month in May, on the final Sunday of the month, the 28th, I will also not be able to do a Mobile Weekly because I will be on vacation with my wife in San Francisco. So I'll be visiting over there. And if you live in San Francisco, where should I go? Let me know. All right, that being said, let's get to the Mobile Weekly news. And we have a couple of good ones this week, and that is some leaks. So the first one is all about the HTC U11. And the reason why that's so big is because it has some really impressive stuff if this is all true. So first of all, it has the Snapdragon 835, which is of course the top processor currently only available on the Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus. Has a 5.5 Quad HD display, okay. But more importantly, it's the second phone with Gorilla Glass 5 that we will be getting, and the first phone outside of Samsung. Has micro SD card slot, has 6 gigs of RAM. Now that's a really important one that a lot of people said, why couldn't Samsung have that internationally? Why do they just have to have it in the Korean model and the Chinese model? Well, this one is going to have it. What it seems like, at least in some areas, 6 gigs of RAM as well. Now, this will also have a 12 megapixel sensor, but here's the biggest part of that. It has a 1.7 aperture, which that is the first phone to match Samsung in having that wide of an aperture, meaning that good in low light. No phone's been able to do that outside of Samsung, so 1.7 is huge for that reason. And it is Ultra Pixel 3, so we'll see how that goes, and ultra speed autofocus. That means nothing really in terms of technology, so we'll have to see what HTC means by that. It also has a 16 megapixel front camera, so a bigger front camera than the rear camera, but the rear camera has bigger ultra pixel sensors, so they should be better, especially in low light. And this one is only an f2.0. So Samsung is still currently the only one with an f1.7 on the front camera, but this one looks like it's going to rival it at the 2.0 in terms of 16 megapixels. That's huge, a lot of detail on there. And it's going to have the Edge Sense. Now, we did a video, I want to say about 2 months ago on this. I forgot if it was Evan Blast leaked it or someone else. I want to say it was probably Evan Blast. And what the Edge Sense was kind of like an Edge display on a Samsung, but basically even cooler because you squeezed it and then slide down and then unselect something or select something. So it really reminds me, if you ever download this app, it's a free app if I'm not mistaken still, it's called Glovebox. And the whole idea behind this was that you could swipe over and swipe down and select it out. You had like a row of different apps or tasks that you programmed, and it allowed you to select it as soon as you let go and let go of it, which on this it would be unsqueeze it. So I really think it's an interesting concept. I think it's really interesting to maybe double squeeze to do something on your phone, or squeeze once to pick up a call maybe, or something along those lines. So I'm really kind of curious how sensitive the squeeze will be. So very curious there. It is IP57. What's the matter, HTC? You couldn't go the full 6? I mean, it's better. It's splash resistant, but it's still not water resistant. It is dust resistant though. That's really nice. But yeah, so IP57. I feel that maybe they don't think that enough people care about dust. So the 6 is the dust and the 7 is the water. So it can go 3 feet for half an hour in water with the 7 rating. However, with the 5, it's only dust resistant, not dust proof, like the iPhone and the Galaxy are. So just have to know that's going to be the difference there. So really good quality headphones. You have 3D audio. We'll see what that means. High-res audio, fingerprint scanner, NFC, latest Wi-Fi's, dual nano SIM. I doubt that'll be in the US just because US carriers don't like dual SIMs. So we'll have to wait and see there. And Qualcomm Quick Charge 3.0. So still no phone with a Qualcomm Quick Charge 4.0, which we were promised with the Snapdragon 835. Maybe they just couldn't get it on this phone, but that is the idea behind this. I'm excited. I mean, this can easily rival the top one on the market right now, which is the S8. And I would love to review it. So HTC, if you are watching this, please send us the phone so we can do it. And if you guys are watching this live, or not live, but if you guys are watching this video and want them to send us it, go on to social media. My username is right there, YouTube Tech Guy. Blast that, blast HTC, tell them, hey, send the YouTube Tech Guy HTC U11 as soon as it comes out, because we want to see his review, and hopefully we'll get that in the studio. Now the next one is from Evan Blass, and that is on the OnePlus 5. So the OnePlus 5 looks like it's going to have insane specs as well. I have not actually read through these because I wanted to read them live to you guys, so as I can see it. So let's see what it has. Okay, let's start off with Android 7.1, which is good. Dual SIM, which OnePlus always has. Snapdragon 835, again, we see that processor, the 835. 8 gigs of RAM. Holy shit. Very impressive, I will say that. If they can do 8 gigs of RAM, very impressive. I would be very interested to see how 8 gigs of RAM would do on a phone. OnePlus, if this is 8 gigs of RAM, this will be the first phone that I buy from you guys, and I'll review. Or if you guys would love to send us one, again, get on social media, guys. Send OnePlus. They've never sent us a phone. I would love to review one, though. That is freaking awesome. All right, and 64 gigs of storage built in. It does finally have expandable memory. Not all OnePlus phones have had that, so that's a really big win for us that they actually have expandable memory on this one. All the Wi-Fi's, 5.5-inch Quad HD display, so no longer a 1080p display. This is a Quad HD display. That's very impressive. Dual cameras, one on the front, one on the back. They wanted to specify that, so only one camera on each side, not dual lenses. 23 megapixel rear camera and 16 megapixel front camera. Now, the curious thing about that is, obviously, we've seen megapixels go really high before, and unfortunately, like we talked about the HTC One earlier, they used to have a 21 megapixel camera. It did not perform as good as the last year's camera with 12 megapixels. So there have been, you know, variations in terms of megapixel count before. This one's 23. I trust OnePlus 5 will have a better camera than the OnePlus 4, which already was a good camera. So I'm very curious to see how it will perform with this. 4,000 milliamp battery, huge battery size. I like it. I really love that it's a bigger battery. Oh, Bluetooth 4.2. I would have liked to see Bluetooth 5.0. I feel like that should be a standard now. For those of you who don't know, my S8 with Bluetooth 5.0 allows me to have dual audio Bluetooth. So I can play Bluetooth on 2 different pairs of headphones connected to one device, or I can play Bluetooth on 2 different sets of speakers paired to different brands. Like it can be a UE Boom and a JBL Charge, and they'll both work simultaneously because of Bluetooth 5.0. So I would like to see that kind of go more across, but I'm sure that chip for Bluetooth is going to be more expensive right now as opposed to the standard Bluetooth 4.2. Other than that, that looks like all of the WOW specifications involved in it. In terms of sensors, I don't see anything really that much more. Fingerprint recognition, so it still will have the fingerprint scanner, nothing else in terms of like an iris scan or anything like that. So that is the OnePlus 5, beast of a phone. 8 gigs of RAM, 8 gigs of RAM. I'm super excited to see that. All right, and the other bit of news that Evan Blass leaked this week is this the new Amazon speaker? So for those of you who don't know know all about Alexa on the Echo and Echo Dot and Echo Tap, this is going to be the next generation. and that is going to be with a screen. And the reason for the screen is to do more things. Definitely a great thing to have for the kitchen, and that's why I think they did the white one. Although why they did a white with a black grill, I don't know. I hate that the white Echo Dot has that same thing. Just make it all white. That's where skin, I think, would really come in handy. But the whole idea behind this is that you have the ability to actually use this touchscreen. Maybe if you're cooking and you're kind of doing things, you can actually see the screen. I'd be curious if it would have services like Amazon Video or Amazon Music. I would imagine definitely Music, because that's what they have already had on the previous Echoes. But for it to have Amazon Video would be a really interesting concept. So you can actually watch movies on your Echo now. Definitely curious to see the battery life on this, or if it is just plug-in only. Curious to see how that goes. So yeah, would you guys be interested in a bigger Echo? I'm kind of curious. It all depends on price point. I feel like this is going to be $250. If it can get $200, I think that'll sell much better. But it depends on how cheap Amazon wants to go for this. And finally, we do want to talk about the thing that some of you guys already asked me about earlier, and that is Apple's earnings. And Apple did fall short of their earnings in terms of iPhone sales. They sold 50 million when the expectation, and 50.8 versus 50.2. So not bad expectations, to be in all honesty. They only missed by 1.2 million phones, and also that sounds like a lot. When you're dealing with 50 million a quarter, it's not bad at all. So I don't frankly think it was that big of a deal. It's more going to be interesting this quarter, because this quarter Samsung is supposedly up by 30%, and in some markets even more. So it's really going to be curious to see how Apple will fare this quarter, Q3 for Apple, because they do it by the business year instead of by a standard year. So Q3 in this year, which will be April, May, and June. So we will get their earnings back in July to see how this fared, basically. So yeah, that's going to be the more interesting thing, in my opinion, to see how they are doing overall. Now, Tim Cook did say, well, their leaks are coming out sooner and sooner for the next iPhone, and people realize that this is a big one, you know. And so he's blaming the leaks, but let's be honest, they've always had leaks. And the iPhone 7 last year, although it didn't, it was expected to change the game and be revolutionary, and it wasn't. So that's the big thing, that they have not done as much. However, we have seen a trend, and that is bigger phones are selling more. It is kind of curious to see. I'm really curious to see if Samsung will ever publish, like, if their Plus is selling more than their regular one, because that is what's happening with Apple. Their iPhone 7 Plus far outsold the iPhone 7. And so it looks like people are willing to pay more for a bigger screen and a bigger display and a bigger battery, specifically. At least that's what iPhone customers are. So I'm curious to see if we'll see the same thing in Android, as we really see phablets kind of taking over. So very curious to see that, and of course very curious to see what else Samsung did say in a press release that that there will be a phone later this year that's coming out. So we expect, obviously, which one we see, but very curious to see how that goes down. All right, guys, let's go into the official questions that were asked. So let's go into it and answer your questions. Again, if you missed out this time, make sure you tune in next week, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We will be live next week. All right. So the first question is, as the tech guy, do you prefer iPhone or Samsung? Now, you did say Samsung specifically instead of Android. I would easily prefer Android over iPhone or Apple. However, in terms of which smartphone is better for me, I am a power user. iPhones are too slow for me. And what I mean by that, because a lot of people say, well, what do you mean? I've seen benchmarks and I've seen, you know, phone dog tests that, you know, Apple beats out phones multiple times. Yes, and if you happen to, you know, use, 12 apps simultaneously, that's very interesting. But here's the thing. The real reason that I would say is that every Apple has crashed on me when trying to use it as a setup. So, and I haven't had that happen as much with Android. And we have seen over the past couple of years, ever since iOS, I want to say 8 came out on the iPhone 6, Apple's quality level, you can say it's been since Steve Jobs, has gone down in terms of making sure their software updates have no issues, because every software update since then has had issue after issue after issue. And it's bricked phones, it's caused issues with other phones, and their software isn't what they used to be. It's just really not. Maybe it's the pressure of doing it every year, but it's just not what it used to be. And maybe it's that one extra phone of the 5C and then 5SE really kind of hurt them in terms of, oh God, now we have to make software updates for this other one. And the resources that went to that one would have stopped the issues from happening. And so in my opinion, Apple's software has taken a big hit over the years, and that was their biggest strength. And they just crash more. Every time we get the new iPhone in the studio and I'm setting up everything the way I would on an Android phone, it first slows down, which is expected. That happens with my Android as well. But then it crashes and it crashes and it crashes. And it's just not meant to do the kind of things of like when I go in full setup mode, I am not only running an app, but I'm running a full app and it's running in the background the entire time. And Apple's not made for that in terms of having the app run in the background while it's doing its high performance and then go to another app. See, it's one thing to, oh, let me use the video editing software and run it, and it'll beat out an Android sometimes, right? Because their single core processor usage is really good. But as soon as you get to the point where if you put it in the background, it might not be as good in that instance. And it seems to me, again, I have not tested this out, but every time it will continuously crash where I do not get that as much on my Android devices when setting them up. So for me, and obviously the flexibility and the freedom, Apple is a sense of security, and that's their marketing brand, right? But I want to be able to do more things and get more stuff done, and I can get more stuff done and have less restrictions without an iPhone. iPhone to me is too restrictive for my needs. However, if you fall in line for an iPhone, then that's perfect for you. So it just depends on the person. All right. Timothy asks, does having a wireless charger on the S8 Plus battery capacity won't diminish over time, or should I still expect it to diminish over time even on wireless charging? So it won't diminish as much. Your battery life will definitely stay maintain longer. However, again, batteries have anywhere from a 300 to 500 cycle count. However, that means you're more likely to get the full 300 to leaning towards 500 on a Samsung specifically. So your battery life will diminish more after closer to the 2-year mark as opposed to the 1-year mark. It's going to last you much longer compared to most phones, which are going to be in the first year, and you're going to see a huge decrease. I always, say whenever anyone asks me, well, think about this. Most of you have a battery life that lasts 11 hours, 12 hours when you first get it. Then after a year, your battery life sucks. You're lasting about 4 hours of not even screen on time, just being on completely. And you're running for a charger, running for a battery pack, or running for a Mophie case, and that's why. Hi, I recently discovered your channel researching the S8. Thank you and welcome. I have an S8. I love the Tech 21 cover, but I love the feel of a screen without a screen protector. I'm thinking about getting a glass screen, and I am not sure if it will affect the sensitivity. Will it affect the sensitivity, and which screen protector would you recommend? Thank you. I would say if you're using a Tech 21 case, the two I would recommend is either the Zag glass screen protector, or I've heard really good things. I've not tested it yet, but I've heard really good things about the Body Glove screen protector, glass screen protector. Both of them have glass screen protectors for the S8 and the current one. You have the S8 Plus. So there you go. Now, I did hear from one person, so keep that in mind, from one person, that the Zag one had sensitivity issues. Like they had to push it harder. So I can't, but I've had other people say they've had no issues, and multiple people on that side. So I've had one person say they've had sensitivity issue, and 4 people. So again, not a huge test lot, but 4 people say they've had no issues with it. But take that out as you will. The body gloves, though, I've heard are easier to put on. So I'm very curious to see. We've not gotten either in the studio, so I cannot verify either one. But that is my recommendation would be one of those two. And you can take the sensitivity things that I've heard with a grain of salt, obviously. Do you think that the LG V30 will have a quad DAC water resistance like the G6? Are the rumors true surrounding the V30 that you know of? What about power banks do you recommend that are reliable? So in terms of, let's go through a couple of those. So, right, the V30, will it be water resistant and will it have a quad DAC like the G6? I do believe so. I do believe you're going to get both of the all features from the G6 will be on the V30 in my opinion. However, the big thing that's going to be controversial with the V30 is the V30 is still seen for power users on the LG side, and I'm pretty positive they're going to remove the battery in order to make it waterproof. So that's going to cause some controversy because that will be the last phone with a removable battery that is gone. So I think that's going to be their more concern. Other than that, no, we haven't really heard anything about the V30. No leaks yet. My guess is because LG isn't in the final stages yet, to be honest. They're still probably in the prototype phase. And it makes sense. Their phone doesn't release till October. End of September, October, typically. I think they will release in October this year. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that's why we haven't really heard anything yet. In terms of what are the best power banks I recommend, I do love a brand called Tilt. They're coming out with a lot of new styles and everything like that, so I can't wait to see what they come out with. So Tilt is definitely probably my favored brand that I would recommend. A great one, though, for the price, though, definitely has to be Anker. One of the best power banks on Amazon. Anker is probably the best one. I would recommend that. Not Aki, because that one isn't as good quality in my opinion, but Anker is definitely one to check out for Amazon. Alright, is there any advantage to using USB Type-C to Type-C versus Type-A to Type-C for charging the S8? I have a portable charger with a USB-C port. It also works great, but keep up the quality content. No, as far as I know, in everything that I've learned about Type-C technology, there's been no difference in terms of that. It's more of, is it USB 3.1, and that's what's more concerning. So as long as the speed is the same, there should be no difference in it. I think it's just more so the idea behind a Type-C to Type-C is that you're transferring between smaller products. So eventually you can have maybe chargers with a smaller battery pack brick that they'll be, they can be this big because the Type-C port is small now. So that's the idea that I think we're going to eventually get to. You're going to see smaller plugins to the wall for that reason. What portable charger do you use? I have a Samsung portable charger. I don't have it with me right now. But I have a Samsung portable charger. It's a fast charger, so I can charge my phones right away. And I do have a charger. I don't have it with me either, but it basically has a Type-C, a micro USB, and then it dangles at the top, and you click it, and it has a Type-C charger there, so that I can switch between whatever 2 different types I'm using, whether it be Type-C or micro USB. I can switch between them very easily. So that's the main thing I have on all my chargers now. So I have 2 car chargers that both have that kind of cable. I did it a long time ago. It's called Effect cables, AFFECT. I got them on Amazon. The white ones, though, are fast charging. The black ones are not fast charging, so be careful if you get those ones. But yeah, so those are really the ones that I have in my car and the ones that I have for my portable battery pack. He asked a really good question. So, being that I donate $1 every month, my chances of winning are bad. I never win. Well, actually, you will be. Hopefully, it makes you feel better that everyone that won, or sorry, 2 out of the 3 that won this time around do only donate $1. The third person does donate $5. So yeah, he got an extra. Yes, I believe he got an extra one, if I remember the tiers correctly. Basically, I put in all the tiers and I have all the numbers, and I do a random generator so that it's fair. You know, I don't know who is who. And then I'm like, okay, this number was this person, this number was this person, these 2 numbers were these people, these 5 numbers were these people. But yeah, so I wouldn't say that you have a more of a, I mean, do you statistically have more of a chance of winning? Yes. But in the time we've been doing it, let me just check something really quick. In the time that we have done our giveaway for the channel, I think we've had a lot of different users. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 different winners. And that is since December was the first time we did a giveaway. So since December, there have been 12 different winners. Has a person won twice? Yes, I believe one person has won twice. But just to give an idea, 12 different winners got free stuff. So you do have a chance of winning. And honestly, I would ask you to just do it just because of the fact that it helps us buy these new products and helps us give you guys new content. That's really the biggest thing that, you know, why we did this was to get you guys new products. So now we're up to this month, we're going to get $105 so we can buy more products and buy them to review for you guys. And I've already got a couple in mind. I have decided what the next product will be. So again, I'm going to give away a wireless charger this month, a Gear VR, and I'm going to give away a Samsung T3 250 gig solid state drive. It's a Type-C solid state drive, so you can connect it to your new Galaxy phone, as well as to your LG G6, to any smartphone really that has a Type-C connection, or to a MacBook or anything along those lines. Anything that has a Type-C, you can use it with it, and I think that's a really great feature. So that is one thing we're giving you. It's 250 gigs of storage. It's supposed to be very pocketable. I can't wait to unbox it because I think it's like this big. So it's really small, but it has 250 gigs of storage. So I think that's going to be a good giveaway. We bought it for it was a little bit over $100. I think it was 120 something. So I bought it, and that's what will be our third giveaway this month. Roland Smith, how do I enter to win? Well, how we do the giveaway is just basically this. You donate $1 to our Patreon page. This allows us to buy products we normally couldn't during our slower times, so that we can actually buy new products for you guys. Because, you know, I email all these companies. I email all of these companies, hey, send us stuff so we can review them. But obviously you're going to have months where you don't get anything. So with that being said, and so that I can at least give one video a day to give content to you guys, what we do is then we ask you guys to donate, buy the product, review it, and then give it to one of you. We give it to you, so we don't get any profit from this. The channel does not get any profit from the donations. It's merely to buy a product and then review it for you guys. So that when we get to, if we ever get to $200, and by the way, I do want to give a shout out to Rob. He actually donated now $40. We have 2 people that are donating $40 a month. Thank you guys so much for that. I appreciate it beyond words. It's amazing that we got to $100 this quickly. So as we keep getting up, that's really awesome. But the idea is that if we ever get to $200, something like that, I can start buying tablets or, you know, really high quality headphones or whatever we can for $200 that you guys want us to review. We can buy those products, review them, and then give them to you guys. Again, all these are being given back to you guys. I don't want to keep any of it. I'll pay for the shipping and handling. I'll do all that kind of stuff. But the whole idea is that I want to be able to review products for you guys and give them to you so that you guys get it. And it's a way that we can reward all of our viewers, and it's a way that we can review more products. So that's the whole idea behind our giveaway. We've been doing it for, again, since December, so that's how it's been going. What happens if you wirelessly charge and charge using cable at the same time on the S8? The wired charging will take over. The wireless charging then stops, and then the wireless charging stops, and the wired charging takes over. I just got a new S8. Is the new wireless charger worth buying? Not necessarily the new wireless charger. I think any wireless charger you buy for the S8 would be fine. There's not really a difference in terms of charge and time and speed. Oops. I just got the S8. Is the new VR worth buying? I've never used a VR headset before. The new VR headset is worth buying in my opinion, especially if you've never had a VR headset. I think it's really fun, but I will not lie, it's more fun if you're into sports and if you're into gaming. Because if you're into sports, you can watch shows live. You could have watched that boxing match that just happened live, front row, corner seat. You could also watch NBA playoff games, a lot of cool things like that live every week. There's different sporting events that are live with NextVR, which is an app on the Oculus Store that you get when you download the VR. That being said, though, that's going to be the biggest thing, right? The biggest thing will be the content that you have for it. And a lot of the games, unfortunately, the best games are paid for. Are they fun? Yes. I love the new motion control and the feature it adds to gaming. We're going to be doing VR games in the next coming weeks, so we'll have that. But really a lot of fun when it comes to it. So really cool stuff coming down the line. What are the best accessories for the new Galaxy S8? Well, the new accessories for the Galaxy S8 are going to be wireless charging would be one. Two would be obviously good cases, I feel like. Three, I would recommend getting a memory card. I'm just a big fan of having more storage, so I'm the biggest fan of getting memory cards for it. Four, what would be a fourth one? Because I don't want to say generic ones, right? Because you can say headphones, you can say speakers, you can say all that kind of stuff. Wireless charger, fast car charger would probably be one of the best ones. The Samsung fast car charger I love because it does charge much quicker than the regular charger. So that's one I recommend for your car. So fast car charger, wireless charging. What were the other ones I just said? I don't know. I'm forgetting. So, but yeah, those are some of the best ones I would start off with besides like case and screen protector, speakers, headphones, all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Oh, and obviously the watch. I really like this watch. So yeah, that's I love a smartwatch though. That's my opinion. How do you get Android Nougat 7.1 on the new S8? It's not yet available, so you can't get it yet. On the S8 screen, would you take off the edge-to-edge option? And what's the best case for the edge-to-edge option? Do you mean like the edge screen? Like the edge screen? Or do you mean like the making the video full-size or apps full-size screen? I actually like most apps being full-size screen. There have been a couple where I have taken it off. Namely, if they have buttons on the bottom, that really does interfere with the home, back, and recent apps button. So I take it off there. But yeah, yep. And what is the best case I recommend for the S8? Again, right now I'm using an Incipio case currently, but we did just finally get our spec cases in. So I will be doing a review on spec cases this week, so stay tuned for that. Can you recommend a good Wi-Fi booster for my house? I have a few devices that seem to go offline sometimes. They are the ones that are the furthest away from my Wi-Fi router. So we do have a Wi-Fi signal booster that we did. It was a TP-Link Wi-Fi signal booster. Oh, right here. So this was it. It was the, does it have the name of it on here? So this is the TP-Link AC750 Wi-Fi range extender. I just took them all down because we got a new router system. We just did an unboxing of it, and it's the Echo TP-Link setup. It's a mesh router system. In my opinion, the mesh router system is a much better solution. However, it's more expensive. The one we got was $300, but my 2-story home is now completely covered at the top speed as if it would be right here next to my router. So that is worth it to me, in my opinion, after now having it. I mean, the speed upstairs is perfect. I even get parked outside my house. I get top speed, or not top speed, but I get about half speed, which is fairly impressive from being outside in my car. So we will be doing a review on that this week as well, showing you the difference of signals that I had before to what I have now. But these are great just to extend your signal. However, make sure you pay attention to the video, because for these, you don't want to put them as far away as possible. For these, you want to put it at a halfway point, because it will only bounce off the signal that it gets. Meaning, my house, I have really high speed internet, and I need to, obviously. So I have 70 up and down. Most people would probably have like 30, 40, 50, around that range. I have 70 up and down because I have Fios internet. So that being said, say if I would put this at midway at a 40 MBS, this would only bounce the 40, not the full 70. So keep that in mind, that this will only bounce what it receives, as opposed to the mesh routers, which give you the full signal. So that's much better. What do you think about the S8 promised UFS 2.1, but Samsung's giving customers UFS 2.0 on some models randomly? So here's the thing. No models apparently are getting UFS 2.1 apparently. All models of Galaxy S8 are UFS 2.0. Now, what this is, if you guys are curious, it is the speed of the internal storage. UFS 2.0 is at 300 megabits per second in terms of speed, so really fast. However, the speed of the 2.1 would have been much faster. I forgot what the clock speed was, though. I remember it was insanely fast when Samsung announced the S8. That was on their spec sheet. If you go to Samsung's mobile's website now, it no longer has UFS 2.1 at all listed on there, so they have removed it entirely. My guess is they couldn't have the yields that they wanted for that, and Samsung makes this solid state storage, so, or the flash memory inside the phone, so they probably just couldn't have the yield they wanted. What I'm guessing, I have no idea, but yeah, that would be what I don't know what happened, but if I had to guess, they just changed it, obviously, because what we now have on all S8s is UFS 2.0. There are no new ones coming out with UFS 2.1. Now, to be fair, though, and you can go on Phone Arena and see the comparison that they have to Samsung's website before and after. To be fair, the biggest thing about that is that with it always said may vary by country. So they never promised UFS in the US. Samsung never promised UFS in Europe. They never promised UFS in a specific country. They just said it will vary by country. Now they don't have it listed at all, which, if you want to know why, ask Samsung. But that is what we've seen in the change from it. What screen protector would you say is the best for the S8 Plus? I said that earlier, and that would, again, I would say it would either be the Zag or the Body Guards glass screen protector. Love your channel. There are days when videos seem to buffer forever when I watch 20-second videos at a time. Not at all. How do I figure out what is causing it and what would fix it? Love all your S8 coverage on that you've given on the Galaxy S's. Thank you, I appreciate that. What would I say is causing it? Unfortunately, it's kind of hard to tell because you didn't tell me which streaming service you're using. Is the streaming service Netflix? Is the streaming service YouTube? Because I'm guessing it's a specific app, but I'm not entirely positive if it is or not. But that would be my biggest guess right away. Is it only one app, or is it any app that you're watching these kind of videos for? Now I'm guessing it's either Instagram or Vine, or not Vine, Instagram or Periscope or Facebook Live, because you said they're 20 seconds at a time. But I'm not sure. So I'm guessing it's that specific app and just how they code and decode. But it could be like that you want to clear the data on the app to refresh it, just because maybe that app is having some issues. So you would clear the data on the app to have it stock again as it first came on your phone. How do you clear cache on the Galaxy S8? How you clear cache is just by using the Samsung System Optimizer. So the Samsung System Optimizer is built into your phone. You just go into Settings, and you go under Device Maintenance, and then you go to Memory, and oh no, sorry, not Memory. You go to Storage, and then you would go to Clean Now. And right now I have about 2.3 gigs, and this is going to clear the cache and everything else in there. So that's how you would clear the cache on the phone, and that's should be fine. Do you know any advantages or disadvantages by buying an unlocked S8 Plus? I know some advantages are no carrier bloatware, absolutely. 2 more colors to choose from, yes. And the disadvantage are a higher cost, probably. Anything else? The disadvantage would also be depending on the version you get. So you may have a dual SIM version, for instance. A dual SIM version can take longer to get an update on the phone as opposed to a single SIM version. That is just something that one of my friends went through that he noticed when he got his S7 Edge unlocked variant. Now, he wanted the dual SIM, so that was more important to him, so he was fine with it. But if you have that issue, you can manually do it. As I told him, you can manually do it. Just go to Smart Switch. Smart Switch is a program that you can download on your PC or Mac, and this will allow you to update your phone to the latest firmware, even if it hasn't been pushed out over the air, or as it's referred to, OTA. So that's how most updates are pushed out, but that is how you can do it otherwise. Hi, I'm thinking about buying a skin for the S8 Plus. Oh, by the way, sorry, there is no more other ones that I can think of off the top of my head about having an unlocked S8 Plus. Unless you get, remember, if you get the Korean model or the Chinese model with 6 gigs of RAM, those variants most likely will not work in the US in terms of the same bands that they will not have in the US. Also, the fact that you have to be careful with it in terms of how it will play. The Chinese model, for instance, you cannot download the Google Play Store. So that would be problematic. You would have to root it. So it's more complicated if you get those variants, just if that's what you were thinking. Hi, I'm thinking about getting a skin for my S8 Plus. I started to look around, found Slick Wraps, a good company. They have one that is naked, but only for the back. Do you know of a company where they're doing naked skins for full body? Thanks for their videos. No, I don't know one that's doing full body naked. Skin Wraps is the only one that I know that does that naked style, actually. Because there is Slick Wraps, there is Skin It, and there is what's the one that all YouTubers get sponsored by? D-Brand. Those are the 3 main skin companies that I know of off the top of my head. So for that being said, though, they're the only ones that do that style, but those are the 3 most prevailing ones. But yeah, that's the only one that I know of that does the naked on the back, period. Although, I mean, I don't know how, if it's naked, why would you want that on the front? I feel like you would want a screen protector better on the front, a glass screen protector on the front, and then a naked cover on the naked skin on the back. That would be my recommendation, and probably why they don't do it. Hey dude, awesome channel, very resourceful. Quick question, has to do with last hidden feature. Is there a way to get a better pic or GIF bigger than half the screen instead of a small round pic the size of a dime, receiving or sending calls. So that actually becomes the full square when someone calls. When someone calls, it should be coming up as the full square. However, you can get third-party dialers, and that should be able to give you a bigger square. So I believe if you get like the Google dialer, that's a bigger image. So that should work. I haven't tried it myself personally, but that just depends on the dialer app you're using. So if you use a different dialer app with a bigger picture, then it should work. How do you change the battery on the Kivo Smart Lock, or is it wired to the house? They're actually 4 AA batteries. Now I use lithium batteries, or the, do I have them here? No. Basically high quality batteries so that you don't have to change them out enough. But from what I hear, they should last about a year. So yeah, and the app will tell you when they're low, which is great. That way, you know, when they're low, you know to change them out. It's very simple. You unscrew the 3 screws and take off the cover. And then once you take off the cover, you just take the little square with the batteries out, take all 4 batteries out, put all 4 batteries in, rinse, repeat, and inverse. And that's it. So yeah, very simple process to change out the batteries on the Kivo setup. And would you ever recommend blue phones? Personally, no. I don't like blue phones because I feel they have too few storage. I feel like by nowadays standards, you really do need 32 gig to 64 gigs of storage, which some blue phones have, but for that price, I would rather get like a Moto E, which I feel is much more worth it, or a Moto G even, which are much better value in my opinion. So let's just say Moto E, right? Oops. So if I get a Moto E phone right now, it costs me, although that's 8 gigs of RAM, so it would be that's 62 bucks. So let's see, how about the Moto G5 Plus, or just the Moto G5. So the Moto G5 Plus right now, a 32 gig model, cost you $184. So really good for the price in that. And yeah, that's probably the least expensive ones I would get. Now that's with ads and offers, so if you don't want that, you don't have to get it. But even a 64 gig with 64 gigs of storage and 4 gigs of RAM, that's $299. So I think those are much better values for those price points. And those are fully compatible with all carriers in the US, with AT&T, Sprint, and T-Mobile, and Verizon. So I think those would be really good ones to consider. But yeah, those would be the ones that I would recommend. I'm trying to find the regular G5, but I cannot find it. So yeah, even if you would get the Moto G4 right now, that's $149 for a 32 gig variant. So 150 bucks and you get an amazing phone for the price. I would recommend those personally over the blues, but that's just my opinion. Let's see, what is the blue HR3? So yeah, I mean, guys, this is horrible in my opinion. 16 gigs with 2 gigs of storage, you might as well not even get it in my opinion. It's just not as worth it. Yeah, for that kind of price range, I would save up and do that. I mean, at the lowest price range, you get a Moto G Play, 16 gigs of storage, again, which I still don't recommend, for 99 bucks. I would spend the extra money and get, and personally get the 150 G4, or I would get the the 150 G4 for 32 gigs of storage for 150, or I would get the G5 Plus for 189, I think I said. So those would be much better than the blue phones in my opinion. I just wouldn't recommend it. Doesn't mean you shouldn't get it, but in my opinion, I just wouldn't. All right, guys, I think that will be the show. We went on a little bit longer than expected, but as always, that's I feel like what we do. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this pre-recorded show. I might be able to do this for Memorial Day weekend. Again, I will be gone basically Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. All right, guys, thank you again always so much for watching. This has been RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy.